Hi, this is Jenny. I'm going to do the favorite A to Z names that AnastasiaRuby did, and it was, I believe, in 2009, so it was a couple of years ago, but I still thought it would be something fun to do for my first video. I really love the nickname Andy, but I hate Andrew because, well, I don't hate it, but I think it's way too common. I would never use it. So I picked Anderson. And for the girls, I did Antonella. I know lots of people love girl names that start with A, but I personally don't have a lot of favorites that start with A. Antonella is a name I first saw when I was studying in Spain on the Spanish Disney Channel. They had a TV show called Patito Feo, which I believe is made in Chile. And the mean girl, her character was named Antonella, but I thought the name was really cute, even though she was the mean girl. And I also love the nickname Nellie, and I thought that I could use Nellie with that, and because I know that Nellie is getting really popular, I believe, with Eleanor. So yeah, I thought that was a different way to do Nellie. For letter B, I picked Bennett. For girls, I picked Brisa. Just thought it was a pretty cute name. For C, I picked Cole for the boy. Simple, cute name. And for the girls, I picked Charlotte, which has been one of my favorite names for years, but now I could never use it because it's way too popular. For D, I picked Daniel for boys, another simple one. I didn't have any real favorite. And for girls, I picked Day, like D-A-Y, like a day of the week. I don't know why I love the sound of that. I would maybe, if I was going to use that, maybe go with Dayla. I don't really know. I think it's cute, but I think it also was might be too out there for some people. For E, there's not a lot of boys' names I like with E. I looked through some and I kind of ended up picking Ellis. Don't really like it a lot. I think it's a cute name, but it sounds a lot like Alice, and I don't think a boy would like to be named Alice. I actually asked my little brother. I have a brother who's 8 years old, and his name is Keaton. I asked him what he thought of all these names, and I'll post that video later because it's kind of interesting to see what a little boy thinks of these names. And he did not like Ellis at all. For E, for girls, I picked Elsa. Elsa is the name of one of my friends that I met in France, and she is Swedish. It's another one of those older names that is still classic and has a nice sound to it, and I love Elsa. That's a name I would really consider using. For F, for boys, I picked Ferris. I've always loved the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think that movie is old enough now that kids wouldn't automatically think of that when they heard the name Ferris. For girls, I picked Flora, which means flower, and I think that's just a pretty name. It's another one of those older names that's not really used a lot now, but if people heard it, they wouldn't be like, oh, that's an old, weird name. For G, again, for the boys, I didn't find any boys' names I really liked, but I forced myself to pick one for each letter, and I picked Gray. I know Grayson is really popular right now, so I would never really use that, I don't think. For girls, I picked Gemma, and I used to hate the name Gemma. I don't know why. I just hated it. And my name is Ginny, and my sister's name is Emma, so I thought it's kind of a funny combination of that. For H, I picked Henry for boys. Another name I loved that became super popular recently. I love King of the Hill. This is a silly reason, but I love King of the Hill, and I love Hank Hill, and I love that Hank is a nickname for Henry, and it's a lot of people don't know that Hank is a nickname for Henry. They just think it's a separate name or something. For girls' names, I picked Hannah. I love the name Hannah. I just think it sounds really pretty. I don't know if I would use that one, but it's really pretty sounding. And I do worry that for little girls today, they would think of Hannah Montana. For boys, I picked Ian. Not a favorite, but I like it. I also like Ian for a girl, but with a different spelling, with an E-Y-E-N spelling. For girls, for I picked Iris. Not really a favorite. I just didn't have a lot of I names I liked. For boys, for J, I picked Jeremiah, which has been a favorite name of mine for a long time. I love boy names that end with the I-A-H or with the A-H in general. But I also really like two other boys' names I like with J are Josiah and Joah with just J-O-A-H, which I thought was a really interesting name I found on a website the other day. For girls, for J, I picked Josephine, which is one of my favorite names right now currently. I think it would be really cute for a little girl to be called Josephine and go by Fifi. I think that's adorable. Or Josie is cute too. For K, I picked Keller for a boy, and I like that. I used to love the name Kelly for a boy, but as I got older, I realized that would be horrible for that poor child because Kelly is so considered a girl's name now. So Keller's kind of similar. For girls, I picked Kay. That's my sister and grandmother's and aunt's middle name is Kay, K-A-Y. I just think it's cute and simple. I would possibly use that for a middle name for a daughter, although my sister probably would too. I picked Lawrence for L for boys. I know like a traditional nickname for Lawrence is Larry, which sounds totally outdated, and I would never want to use that, but I thought it would be cute to use Lawrence with the nickname Ren, R-E-N. For girls, I have 4 names because I could not decide. L is my favorite letter, and I love L names for girls. I picked the first one is Lyra. I just think that sounds pretty. The second one is Liliana. I love Liliana. I think if I had to pick a favorite of the L names, I would probably pick Liliana. I also picked Lorraine, which is my middle name. That's a name if I have a daughter, I will definitely her middle name will probably 99% for sure be Lorraine. I share that middle name with my grandmother and my great grandmother. I used to want to use it for a first name, but I don't think I would now. I don't like any of the nicknames for it. I don't like Ray or Rain or Lori or any of that. Then the last one I put is Lucille, which I don't like. I don't like the sound of it as a full name, but I do like the nicknames Lulu or Cece. Lucy is a cute nickname too, but I don't think I would use that. For M, I picked Micah for a boy. Again, I love the AH sound. And for girls, I picked Miriam. I think Miriam is adorable and could be Miri, which is super cute. For N, I picked Noah for the boys. Another name that I love but is very popular. Very sad. For girls, I picked Nora. Again, Eleanor is really popular, so Nora is getting popular with that. I don't like any O names really for boys or girls, but I forced myself to pick some. So I have Owen. And for girls, I found Oriole, like the bird, which is kind of cute. And I also found Orly, Orly is the name of an airport in Paris. So that's what it makes me think of. So Orly is a form of aura, which means light. For P, I picked Perry for a boy. Although I think kids today would think of Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. For girls, I love the name Pia, which was the contestant on American Idol a few years ago. I think it's a really cute name. The other name I picked was Peony. And when I asked Keaton what he thought of these names, he said it made him think of pee, like urinating. So I don't think... I love both. I think they're both really pretty, but I wouldn't use those because I think there's too much teasing potential. For Q, there's not really many good Q names. Quinn is really the only good Q name in my opinion. For boys, I picked Quinn, and for girls, I picked Quinny, which on Glee, there's one episode where Quinn's father calls her Quinny, and I think it's adorable. But if I was going to go with that, I would just name her Quinn and call her Quinny as a nickname. For R, I picked Rome and Roman. I also really like the name Rhett. For girls, I picked Rebecca. I think it's a pretty name, but I would never use that name. It's really plain. And I don't like Becky very much. I couldn't find any S names I really liked for boys. I just put 2 that I thought were interesting. I put Sherwood, which I thought was kind of cool, like the Sherwood Forest from Robin Hood. And I put Santiago, which is a Spanish name that means St. James. And I would never probably use those. For girls, I picked Serafina, which is a name that I saw in AnastasiaRuby's videos, and I love that name. I think that's beautiful. Yeah, that's one of my probably top 5 out of the girls' names on this list. For T, I picked Thomas for a boy. I love classic common names for boys. I don't think I would use it though, because it's too popular. And I don't like Tommy or Tom that much. I just like Thomas. For girls, I picked Tessa, which isn't really generally my style, but I think it's pretty. For boys, for you, I picked Uriah, which I had not come across before. I think it's kind of cool. I think it sounds a little girly, but again, it's one of those AH names. For girls, I picked Ursina, which means little bear. And it's funny, the other day my sister said to me, what did I think of Ursa as a little girl name? Like Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, like the constellations. And she said she thought it was cute because it meant bear. For V, I picked Vance, which is kind of a cool twist off of Vince. I also love the name Vermont with the idea of a nickname Monty for a little boy, but since my name is Virginia, I think that would be really tacky. For girls, I picked Violet, and there are so many V girl names that I love. I think because I have a V name, I always pay more attention to them. There are a lot of pretty V names, but I picked Violet as a favorite. For W, there's not a lot of W names I like for boys. I picked Win. I don't really like it. For girls, this is probably my favorite girl name at the moment, is Willa. I think it's really pretty, would be easy for people to recognize and spell without being weird, without being overused. I love that name. For X, I picked Zadrian, which I don't like, but I had to pick one. It's kind of cool, but no, not my style. For X, for girls, I picked Xandra, or you could say Sandra. My mother's name is Sandra, which I think is pretty, so I thought that would be cute. I would probably not use that again, but it's cute. For Y, I picked York for a boy. I think it's kind of cool. And for a girl, I picked Yulia, which I think is pretty. I also like Juliana. I don't like C names that much. But for boys, I picked Zariah, another AH one, or Zayden. I would never use those names. Too trendy. I do not like trendy names. For girls, I like these names a lot more. I don't know that I would use them, but I like them a lot more. I picked Zosha, which I thought was cute. And I also picked Zofia, which I knew a girl in France named Zofia, and she was Hungarian, and that's a Hungarian version of Sophie. I thought it was beautiful. So that is my favorite A to Z boy and girl names. I hope you guys liked it, and I am possibly going to be making more name videos. So if you like name videos, or if you would be interested in watching me make name videos, please comment, and have a great day. Thanks.